Not him, Dad, I am afraid of that human warrior, cried the alien princess. Princess Lyra stood on the balcony of the palace, her hair glinting like spun silver in the sunlight. She loved this quiet hour of the morning when the city seemed to hold its breath, and the ocean of clouds below reflected the sky in soft waves. Veloria was a peaceful planet. Its people had lived for centuries without conflict, their society built on harmony, learning, and the beauty of the stars. The city floated above the planet's oceans, supported by anti-gravity crystals that pulsed with a soft inner light. Lyra had grown up surrounded by wonders. Crystal towers taller than mountains, gardens suspended in midair, and libraries filled with knowledge from every corner of the galaxy. Yet, despite all this beauty, she felt uneasy that morning. Her father, King Thalen, had received troubling news the night before. Humans, a species from another star system, had entered Veloria's sector. Not much was known about them, except for stories from explorers and traders. Humans were brave, inventive, and unpredictable. And one name had been mentioned more than any other, Kale. He was a human warrior, famous for his courage and strength. Tales of his adventures had traveled across light years, and some of them were frightening, even to Velorians. Lyra hugged herself as she thought about him. She didn't like the idea of a stranger, especially a human warrior, walking into her city. Her father had said Kale came in peace, but something deep inside her told her to be cautious. "Lyra," a soft voice said behind her. It was her companion, a small creature named Tiri. Tiri had wings like a dragonfly but the size of a fox, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Why do you look so worried?" Lyra shook her head. "I don't know, Tiri, it's humans, and this Kale. Everyone talks about him as if he's a hero, but heroes can be frightening too." Tiri fluttered closer. "Perhaps he is just like you imagine, or perhaps he is nothing like your fears. How will you know if you do not meet him?" Lyra sighed. "I know, but I can't help feeling scared. What if he is too strong, too different? What if he doesn't understand us?" Tiri chirped softly, landing on Lyra's shoulder. "Then you will teach him to understand. That is what you do best." Lyra smiled faintly. Tiri always knew the right thing to say. Still, the fear in her chest would not leave so easily. She turned back to the horizon, scanning for the first signs of Kale's arrival. Meanwhile, in the human starship orbiting Veloria, Kale prepared himself for the first meeting with the alien royalty. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried an air of confidence that came from years of experience exploring the galaxy. Yet, even he felt a ripple of nervousness. Not because he doubted his abilities, but because this mission required diplomacy, not battle. Humans were known for their courage, but also for their ingenuity and kindness. Kale hoped that these qualities would be enough to earn the trust of a people who had never seen his kind before. The ship glided silently through the atmosphere, reflecting the sunlight off its smooth, silver surface. As it descended toward the Crystal City, Veloria's residents gathered on terraces and floating platforms, marveling at the strange visitor. Some whispered, some pointed, and some watched with wide-eyed excitement. Princess Lyra's father, King Thalen, had already convened his council. They discussed every possible outcome, from peaceful alliance to conflict, though none truly believed violence would come. Humans were far away and their intentions seemed clear. They sought cooperation, not conquest, yet caution was always wise. "Father," Lyra said, stepping into the council room, "I do not want to see him, not Kale. I've heard stories." Her voice trembled slightly. King Thalen placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "My daughter, I understand your fears. Humans are different from us. They think differently, act differently, but sometimes differences bring strength. Kale comes as a friend, you will see." Lyra nodded, though her stomach still twisted with unease. She didn't like being told what to feel. Outside the palace, Kale's ship hovered above the largest crystal tower. A hatch opened, and he descended gracefully onto the landing platform. His presence was commanding, yet he carried no weapons in his hands. He bowed politely, a gesture learned from studying alien customs. The citizens of Veloria held their breath. Princess Lyra watched from the balcony, her eyes wide. Kale's human features were unlike any Velorians. Broad face, strong jaw, eyes that seemed to look into one's heart, and a calm yet powerful presence. Lyra whispered, "Not him, Dad. I'm afraid of that human warrior." King Thalen smiled, though his eyes held concern. "Fear is natural, my child, but courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting despite it." Kale approached slowly, careful to show he meant no harm. He spoke in Velorian, a language he had studied tirelessly for months. I am Kale, a traveler from a distant world. I come seeking friendship and to help your people if you will allow it. The princess's heart pounded. His words were gentle, yet strong. She couldn't deny the sense of calm they carried, a calm that contrasted with the stories she had heard of him as a warrior. Tiri whispered in her ear, "See, there is no danger in his words, only hope." Lyra nodded, taking a small step forward. Kale's gaze met hers, and in that moment she realized something important. Fear often grows larger when faced from a distance. Up close, the truth is revealed, and the unknown becomes familiar. Over the next few hours, Kale toured the palace and the surrounding city with King Thalen. He asked questions, listened intently, and offered suggestions for protecting Veloria from natural cosmic phenomena that sometimes swept through their sector. He never boasted, never acted aggressively, and never gave the impression he sought power. Princess Lyra watched silently from a balcony, her initial fear slowly softening into curiosity. She observed Kale helping a Velorian engineer repair a broken energy crystal, his hands steady, his mind sharp. She saw him encourage the city's youth to try experiments and explore ideas without fear of failure. By the time the suns began to set, painting the skies with violet and orange, Lyra felt a shift within herself. Kale was still a human, still different, but he was also someone who could teach her about courage, friendship, and trust. That night in her chambers, Lyra reflected on the day. "Maybe fear is not always the enemy," she whispered to Tiri. "Maybe it is a guide helping us see who is truly brave and who is only different." Tiri nodded, curling up beside her. "And maybe, Princess, true bravery is learning to face the things we do not understand." As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting the floating city in twilight, Princess Lyra realized that her life on Veloria was about to change. A new chapter had begun, not one of fear, but of curiosity, challenge, and the possibility of friendship with a human warrior unlike any other. The stars above Veloria sparkled brighter that night, as if welcoming Kale and the promise of new adventures. Princess Lyra, though still wary, felt a spark of excitement. The universe was vast, and soon she would discover that humanity held wonders and strength she had never imagined. And so, under the soft glow of crystal towers and starlit skies, the princess waited, no longer just afraid, but ready to meet what the future had in store. The next morning, Princess Lyra awoke to the soft hum of Veloria's floating gardens. The light of the twin suns poured through her bedroom window, painting the crystal towers with gentle gold and pink hues. Her mind was still filled with thoughts of Kale, the human warrior. She had spent the night thinking about him, about his calm confidence, his unusual courage, and the strange way he seemed to care for people he barely knew. Tiri fluttered near her window, her wings catching the morning light. "Princess," she said softly, "Kale awaits your presence. The king wishes you to meet him in the council hall." Lyra hesitated. She had expected the meeting with her father, not with Kale directly, but curiosity mixed with a spark of courage made her nod. Today she would see the human up close, not from afar, and perhaps she would understand why he had frightened her at first. The council hall was vast, stretching high above the palace floor. Light flowed through the crystalline walls, and the ceiling reflected images of the stars, even during the day. Kale stood near the center of the hall, looking both calm and alert. His armor had a sleek silver-blue shine, and his posture was straight, confident but not imposing. "Good morning, Princess Lyra," Kale said, bowing politely. His voice was gentle but carried the confidence of someone who had faced many challenges. "I hope the morning finds you well." Lyra curtsied carefully, still feeling a little shy. "Good morning, Kale." I hope you are well too." Her words sounded small, but there was a hint of curiosity in them. King Thalen smiled, watching the exchange closely. "Lyra, Kale has arrived to offer assistance. A cosmic storm approaches our sector, one that could affect our energy fields and the floating city. Kale has experience with such phenomena, and I believe he can guide us." Lyra's eyes widened. "A storm? Here? How dangerous could it be?" Kale shook his head. "It is not a storm like rain or wind," he explained. "It is a wave of cosmic energy, fast-moving and powerful. It can interfere with crystals, engines, and even the natural flow of your floating city. But with careful planning, it can be managed." Lyra's curiosity outweighed her fear. "And you can help us?" Kale nodded. "Yes, Princess, but I cannot do it alone. Your people know this city better than anyone. Together we can protect Veloria." For the first time, Lyra noticed something in Kale that the stories had never mentioned. He was not just brave, but thoughtful. His strength was not in fighting or in loud displays of power, but in planning, in understanding, and in helping others stay safe. Teary chirped, flitting around Kale's shoulders. "See, Princess, fear comes first, but understanding comes next. He is not here to harm." Lyra smiled faintly. "I suppose I will have to see for myself." The first task was simple, to inspect the energy conduits that powered the floating city. Lyra had walked these pathways many times, but she had never thought of them as fragile or vulnerable. Kale's sharp eyes spotted small cracks in the conduits, areas where the cosmic storm could cause interference. "Here," Kale said, pointing to a glowing crystal that pulsed faintly. "If the storm hits this area, the energy flow may weaken." "You could lose part of the city's stability," Lyra frowned. I didn't notice that. How can we fix it?" Kale smiled. "With care and teamwork, your people are skilled at crystal work. I can suggest ways to reinforce it while keeping your energy flowing." Lyra felt a spark of excitement. The fear she had carried yesterday was slowly giving way to curiosity and determination. Perhaps this human warrior was not a threat at all, but a teacher, a guide, and a friend. Over the next hours, Kale moved through the city, examining the conduits, the towers, and the bridges. Lyra followed, her fear replaced by fascination. She saw the way Kale listened carefully to engineers, asking questions that made them think, showing them small improvements, and encouraging them to try new solutions. The princess began to understand something very important. Bravery was not only about fighting or strength. Bravery could be quiet, it could be careful, it could be the courage to help, to learn, and to work with others. During a break in the inspections, Lyra asked Kale a question she had been curious about. "Humans, you travel so far across the stars. Are you not afraid?" Kale paused, thinking carefully. "Fear is natural," he said. "Even humans feel it, but courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite it. I'm afraid sometimes, yes, but I do not let fear stop me from doing what is right." Lyra looked at him closely. "Even when it is dangerous?" "Especially then," Kale replied. His eyes were steady, and Lyra felt a strange comfort in his words. It was as if he understood fear and could teach her to face it without being overwhelmed. That evening, as the twin suns set and the city glowed in soft violet and gold, a small problem arose. One of the lower crystal towers began to tremble, caused by subtle energy interference that the storm would amplify if left unchecked. Kale and Lyra rushed toward it. Lyra's heart raced. "What if it collapses?" she whispered. Kale placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Stay calm, we will manage it together. Trust the knowledge you have, trust your people, and trust yourself." The princess nodded, feeling a surge of courage she hadn't known she possessed. Together, they coordinated the engineers and guards, reinforcing the structure and stabilizing the energy crystals. Kale suggested a minor adjustment to the flow of power and the tower stopped trembling. Lyra felt a sense of accomplishment. "We did it," she said softly. Kale smiled. "Yes, because we worked together." Bravery is never about one person alone. It is about helping each other succeed. The next few days were filled with preparations. Lyra began to see Kale not as a frightening human warrior, but as a thoughtful and clever partner. She watched him as he helped children learn about star maps, encouraged young engineers to experiment safely, and even taught some of the palace guards small ways to reinforce their city without using force. By the fourth day, Lyra had a new feeling inside her. Fear had not disappeared entirely, but it no longer ruled her. Curiosity, trust, and respect had replaced much of the worry she had carried. She realized that Kale's bravery was inspiring, not intimidating. One afternoon, Kale led Lyra to the highest observation tower. From there, they could see the approaching cosmic storm as a shimmering wave of light in space, moving slowly but powerfully toward Veloria. "It looks beautiful," Lyra said, amazed at the colors swirling in the distance. Kale nodded. "Yes, it is beautiful. But it can be dangerous. That is why we must prepare. And that is why I am glad to have your help, Princess." Lyra felt proud. I am glad to help too. I think I was wrong to fear you. You are not frightening, Kale. You are strong, but in a way I understand." Kale smiled warmly. "Thank you, Lyra. That means a lot. Humans and Velorians are different, yes, but we can learn much from each other. Together we can face challenges that neither of us could face alone." As night fell, the city glimmered with lights, and the stars above Veloria seemed to shine brighter. Lyra felt a sense of hope she had never experienced before. Fear was still present, but it had become a guide rather than a barrier. Teary perched on her shoulder. "You see, Princess, understanding turns fear into courage. Kale has shown you that." Lyra nodded. "Yes, and I think he will show me even more. Tomorrow we will begin the preparations to protect the city from the storm. I feel ready." The human warrior, Kale, stood quietly beside her, gazing at the stars. He was aware of the challenges ahead, yet his calm presence brought strength not just to Lyra, but to everyone around him. In his heart, he knew that this mission was about more than just protecting a city. It was about building trust, friendship, and courage across worlds. And Princess Lyra, who had once been afraid of him, began to see that the most remarkable heroes were not those who frightened others, but those who inspired courage, hope, and cooperation. As the night deepened and the stars twinkled above, the city of Veloria slept peacefully, unaware of the storm approaching from afar. But for Lyra, Kale, and the people of the floating city, a new chapter had begun, one of trust, learning, and the possibility of interstellar friendship. And so the princess, once afraid, now looked forward to the days ahead, ready to face the unknown with a brave heart, guided by the wisdom and courage of a human warrior who had come not as a threat, but as a friend. The next morning, Princess Lyra awoke to a quiet hum in the palace. The floating city of Veloria glimmered under the light of the twin suns, and the crystal towers sparkled as if holding tiny stars within them. Though the city appeared peaceful, a sense of urgency filled the air. The cosmic storm that Kale had warned about was slowly approaching their sector, and the preparations had begun. Lyra dressed quickly, her mind focused on the tasks ahead. Teary fluttered around her, tiny wings buzzing softly. "Princess, today is important," she said. "Kale needs your help. The city relies on both of you." Lyra nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and responsibility. She had grown fond of Kale over the past days, learning from his calm and steady presence. Yet a small part of her still wondered if they were truly ready to face the storm together. When they met Kale at the palace courtyard, he was already studying a holographic map of Veloria's energy conduits. The map pulsed gently, showing areas of potential weakness that could be affected by the storm. "Good morning, Princess," Kale greeted her with a nod. "Today we begin the final preparations. The storm is closer than expected, so we must act carefully." Lyra glanced at the map. "There are so many points to check. How will we manage all of them?" Kale smiled reassuringly. "With teamwork, you know this city better than anyone. Your people have skills I could never master. Together, we will strengthen Veloria before the storm arrives." The first task was to inspect the city's outer bridges. These bridges connected the floating towers and were powered by delicate crystals. Kale led a team of engineers, while Lyra guided young apprentices to observe and learn. As they worked, Lyra noticed how Kale interacted with the citizens. He never gave orders harshly. Instead, he asked questions, encouraged ideas, and shared knowledge. Even the youngest apprentices seemed to understand his approach, eager to contribute. "See, Princess," Teary whispered as they walked along the shimmering bridge. "Courage is not only in facing danger, it is in teaching, helping, and inspiring others." Lyra nodded. "I understand. He is brave, yes, but in a way I can see and follow. That makes me braver too." Suddenly, a section of the bridge trembled underfoot. A small crack had begun to widen in one of the support crystals. Lyra's heart raced. "Kale, the bridge!" Kale moved quickly, assessing the situation. "We must reinforce it now." "Lyra, guide the apprentices to stabilize the crystal while I adjust the energy flow." Working together, they managed to stabilize the bridge before the tremor worsened. Lyra felt a rush of pride. She realized that bravery was not about standing alone. It was about acting wisely and working with others when danger appeared. After the bridge, Kale suggested inspecting the energy conduits inside the palace towers. These conduits carried the power that kept the city floating and lit. The cosmic storm could interfere with them, causing disruptions that might affect the entire city. Lyra followed him through the crystal corridors, observing as Kale pointed out areas that needed reinforcement. His instructions were simple but precise, and Lyra found herself learning quickly. "You see, Princess," Kale said, "even the strongest structures need careful attention. Courage is useless if it is not guided by knowledge." Lyra smiled. "I think I understand now. Bravery is not just about facing the unknown. It is about preparing for it wisely." As they moved from tower to tower, Kale asked the apprentices to test small energy adjustments under his supervision. Some were nervous, afraid of making mistakes, but Kale's calm presence reassured them. He encouraged careful experimentation, showing that mistakes were not failures but lessons. Lyra felt inspired. "He is teaching them more than just protection," she whispered to Thierry. "He is teaching them courage and confidence," Thierry chirped in agreement. "Yes, Princess, that is the kind of bravery that lasts." By midday, the princess and Kale had completed a large portion of the city's preparation. They paused at a terrace overlooking the ocean of clouds below. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the wind brush against her face. "Kale," she said softly, "I admit I was afraid of you when I first saw you. I thought humans were unpredictable, maybe even dangerous. But now I see that your courage is different. It is gentle yet strong." Kale looked at her, his eyes steady. "Fear is natural, Lyra. It is how we respond to it that matters. You have learned quickly. Your courage is growing as well." Lyra smiled faintly. "I hope so. The storm is coming. I do not want to fail my people." "You will not," Kale assured her. "We are stronger together." Their calm was interrupted by a sudden alert. A smaller energy conduit near the city's edge was fluctuating dangerously. Kale and Lyra rushed to the site. The crystal that powered it had begun to pulse erratically, its light flickering as the storm's energy approached. "This one is unstable," Kale said. "We must redirect the energy flow immediately." Lyra nodded. "We can do it. I will guide the apprentices, and you manage the adjustments." Working quickly, they coordinated the apprentices to stabilize the crystal. Kale carefully redirected the energy using a portable device, while Lyra encouraged the apprentices to stay calm. Slowly, the crystal's light steadied, and the conduit hummed steadily once more. "You see," Kale said after the task was complete, "even small actions make a big difference. Every person's effort matters, no matter how small it seems." Lyra's heart swelled with pride. "I understand. Courage is also in trusting others and letting them help." The afternoon passed with more inspections, adjustments, and teaching moments. Lyra noticed that Kale never sought credit. He praised the apprentices, the engineers, and the citizens for their efforts. His bravery was silent yet visible in every action. As the sun began to set, Lyra and Kale returned to the observation tower. From there, they could see the cosmic storm approaching, a massive wave of shimmering energy moving across space toward Veloria. Its colors were beautiful and dangerous, a reminder of the challenge they faced. "We must be ready by nightfall," Kale said. "The storm will arrive soon, and the city will need every bit of preparation we can provide." Lyra nodded. "I am ready. I feel ready." Kale smiled. "Good. Courage grows with action, not just words. You are proving that today." As darkness fell over the floating city, the first effects of the storm became visible. Tiny pulses of energy flickered across the crystal towers, and a gentle hum of interference filled the air. Citizens looked to the sky with concern, but Kale and Lyra moved through the city, guiding everyone calmly. Lyra felt her fear return briefly as a strong pulse shook a nearby tower, but she steadied herself, remembering Kale's words. Courage was not the absence of fear, it was acting wisely despite it. She directed the apprentices to stabilize the tower while Kale adjusted the energy flow. Together, they succeeded once again. After the immediate danger passed, Lyra and Kale stood on a terrace overlooking the city. The storm's light reflected in the crystal towers, casting a rainbow of colors across the city. "You have done well today, Princess," Kale said. "Your leadership and courage helped protect many. Do not forget that." Lyra smiled. "I will not. I see now that bravery is not about being unafraid. It is about understanding, preparing, and helping others." Thierry chirped excitedly. "You are learning quickly, Princess." "Kale has taught you much," Lyra nodded. "Yes, and I think there is still more to learn. Tomorrow we will face the storm directly. But today we have proven that we can work together, human and Velorian alike." Kale looked to the sky where the storm's shimmer grew brighter. "Tomorrow will be the real test, but I am confident. We are ready because we face it together." Lyra felt a sense of calm determination. The storm would be difficult, perhaps frightening, but she no longer faced it alone. With Kale's guidance, Thierry's wisdom, and the strength of her people, she felt prepared to face the unknown. As night settled over Veloria, the princess reflected on the lessons of the day. Fear had been present, but so had courage, trust, and teamwork. She realized that bravery was not only Kale's gift to the city, It was a gift to her as well. And so, under the starlit sky of Veloria, Lyra prepared herself for the coming storm. With the human warrior by her side, she understood that challenges could be met with intelligence, cooperation, and heart. And with these qualities, she knew they could protect their city and its people, no matter what the universe might send their way. The twin suns of Veloria had barely risen when the first signs of the cosmic storm began to shimmer on the horizon. Princess Lyra stood on the palace balcony, her silver hair catching the morning light. The city of Veloria, normally serene and glittering, now seemed tense, aware that a great challenge was approaching. Teary hovered beside her, wings flickering nervously. "Princess, the storm is closer than last night. Are you ready?" Lyra took a deep breath, steadying her racing heart. "I think so, Teary. Kale has taught me much about courage, and our people are ready, but it is still frightening to see it coming so near." Teary landed softly on her shoulder. "Fear is natural. Courage is acting despite it. You are ready because you face it, not because you are unafraid." Below, the citizens of Veloria moved quickly but calmly. Engineers checked the energy conduits one last time, apprentices reinforced the crystal bridges, and guards prepared to manage any unexpected incidents. Kale moved among them, offering guidance, encouragement, and reassurance. His calm presence helped everyone focus, even as the shimmering colors of the storm became brighter and more ominous in the sky. Lyra joined Kale in the central courtyard. "Kale," she said, "how strong is the storm? Can we really protect the city?" Kale looked up at the sky, where ribbons of shimmering light stretched across the horizon. "It is powerful," he admitted, "but it is not unstoppable. The city's crystals and energy conduits are strong and your people are skilled. Together, we can manage it." "Remember, Princess, courage is not just in facing the storm, it is in preparing for it and helping others remain calm." Lyra nodded. She felt a mixture of fear and determination, but Kale's words gave her strength. "Then let's begin," she said. The first wave of the storm hit the outskirts of the city mid-morning. A faint shimmer of energy pulsed across the crystal bridges, causing a ripple that made Lyra's stomach twist. Citizens paused to watch, some whispering anxiously, but Kale stepped forward calmly. "Everyone stay focused," he called. "Follow the safety procedures. Remember your training. We will handle this together." Lyra guided the apprentices to secure the energy conduits on the lower bridges, while Kale monitored the main power grid. The storm's energy interfered with the crystals, causing small tremors, but every time a problem arose, Lyra and Kale worked together to stabilize it. At one point, a surge of energy caused a section of a floating tower to flicker dangerously. Lyra's heart raced. "Kale." The tower, Kale moved swiftly, placing a hand on a control panel and directing the apprentices. "Shift the energy flow to the adjacent conduit. Lyra, coordinate the engineers below. We must act quickly but carefully." Lyra shouted instructions, her voice steady despite the fear in her chest. The apprentices followed her lead, adjusting the crystal stabilizers, and the tower's tremor slowed. Kale made the final adjustment, and the tower pulsed steadily once more. Lyra felt a wave of pride. They were succeeding, even as the storm grew stronger. She realized that courage was not just about facing the storm, it was about keeping calm, thinking clearly, and working with others. The storm moved closer to the city's core. Shimmering bolts of cosmic energy danced across the sky, reflecting in the crystal towers like ribbons of light. Citizens watched from safe platforms, their trust in Kale and Lyra growing with every problem solved. Kale turned to Lyra. "The central tower is next. If the storm interferes there, the city's stability could be at risk. We must go together." Lyra nodded, her fear now mingled with determination. She followed Kale through the crystal corridors, Teary hovering close. As they reached the central tower, they saw that one of the main conduits was flickering violently, responding to the storm's energy in unpredictable ways. Lyra's hands trembled slightly. "Kale, what if it collapses?" Kale placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Trust your knowledge and your people. Fear is natural, but courage is action. We will stabilize it together." Lyra took a deep breath and stepped forward. She guided the apprentices to adjust the crystal alignments while Kale carefully redirected the energy flow. Together, they worked in harmony, correcting the fluctuations before any serious damage occurred. The storm continued to pulse across the city, testing their preparations at every turn. Bridges trembled, minor conduits flickered, and the shimmering lights of the storm cast long, strange shadows across the towers. Yet with Kale's calm guidance and Lyra's growing confidence, the city remained stable. During a brief pause, Lyra and Kale stood on a high balcony overlooking the city, the storm's glow reflected in their eyes. "You have done well, Princess," Kale said. "Your courage and leadership have inspired everyone. Even in fear, you acted wisely and decisively." Lyra smiled faintly, her chest still racing. I feel braver because of you, Kale. You've shown me that courage is not the absence of fear, but acting despite it." Kale nodded. "Exactly, and remember, bravery is strengthened by trust. You trusted your people and they trusted you. That is why we succeed." The storm's intensity grew as the day progressed. A strong surge caused a minor tremor in the lower crystal bridges. Lyra and Kale rushed to the site, coordinating engineers and apprentices to reinforce the structures. Lyra's mind worked quickly, following Kale's instructions and adding her own insights. Together, they stabilized the bridge, preventing what could have been a dangerous collapse. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the storm's energy reached its peak. The sky above Veloria shimmered with a dazzling array of colors, and small pulses of energy brushed against the floating city. The citizens watched, holding their breath, but Kale's calm presence reassured them. "Keep moving," Kale called. "Adjust the conduits, support the bridges, protect the towers. Together we can manage this." Lyra felt a surge of confidence. She shouted instructions to the apprentices, coordinated the engineers, and adjusted crystal alignments. Kale moved beside her, silently supporting and guiding. The storm's pulses grew stronger, but every time a problem appeared, they solved it together. By nightfall, the storm began to pass. Its energy still shimmered in the sky, but Veloria's crystals glowed steadily, and the city's floating towers remained stable. Citizens cheered softly, amazed at what had been accomplished. Lyra stood beside Kale on the observation tower, looking down at the city. The crystal towers reflected the storm's remnants in soft colors, a reminder of both the challenge they had faced and the strength they had shown. "You see, Princess," Kale said, "even the strongest storm cannot break a city that works together. Your courage, your people, and your willingness to trust each other, that is what protected Veloria." Lyra nodded, her heart full. "I understand now. Bravery is not about being unafraid. It is about facing fear, helping others, and working together." Teary fluttered near, her eyes bright. "Princess, you have grown so much today. You have learned that courage is not just in strength, but in knowledge, trust, and teamwork." Lyra smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. "Yes, Teary, and Kale has taught me that even someone very different from us can become a friend and an ally." As the night settled over Veloria, the twin moons reflected in the crystal towers, casting soft light across the floating city. Lyra realized that the storm had not only tested their city, but also her own courage and leadership. She felt stronger, wiser, and more confident than ever before. Kale stood silently beside her, gazing at the stars. "The storm has passed for now," he said. "But remember, Princess, challenges will always come. It is how we face them together that defines our courage." Lyra nodded. "I will remember, and I will continue to learn, grow, and lead my people with courage, just as you have taught me." The city of Veloria slept peacefully that night, its towers shining like stars. And for Princess Lyra, the lessons of the storm would remain forever. Courage is action despite fear, bravery grows with trust and teamwork, and true strength comes from helping and inspiring others. In the heart of the floating city, a new bond had been formed, between a human warrior and a Velorian princess. A bond that would guide them through future challenges, adventures, and the unknown wonders of the universe. And as the stars twinkled above, Lyra understood that the greatest storms could not break her spirit. With courage, trust, and friendship, she could face anything that came her way. The morning after the storm, Veloria glimmered in the soft light of the twin suns. The floating city, which had survived the cosmic storm with only minor disruptions, seemed brighter and stronger than ever. Princess Lyra stood on the highest terrace of the central tower, looking out across the sparkling towers and floating gardens. The city felt alive in a way she had never experienced before, as if it had grown wiser, braver, and more connected after facing the storm. Teary hovered beside her, her wings glittering in the sunlight. "Princess, the people are safe. The city is stable. You and Kale did well." Lyra nodded, still feeling a quiet thrill of accomplishment. Yes, Thierry, but it was not just Kale or me, it was everyone. The engineers, the apprentices, the guards, everyone worked together. That is what saved Veloria, Thierry chirped happily. Exactly. Courage is strongest when shared, Lyra smiled. She had learned much in the past days. She had faced fear, uncertainty, and challenges she had never imagined. But through it all, she had discovered that bravery was not only in fighting or strength, but in teamwork, trust, and hope. Kale approached quietly, standing beside her. His presence was calm, but his eyes reflected a deep respect and pride. Princess Lyra, he said, Veloria has survived the storm. You led your people with courage and wisdom. I am honored to have worked alongside you. Lyra turned to him, feeling a warm sense of gratitude. Kale, I am grateful to you as well. You taught me so much. You showed me what courage truly is and how much stronger we can be when we work together. Kale smiled. The lessons go both ways, Lyra. Your people's skill, creativity, and dedication inspired me as well. Humans and Velorians are different, yes, but together we can accomplish great things. Below, the citizens of Veloria emerged from their homes and workspaces. They cheered softly, waving and bowing as the princess and Kale appeared. Lyra's heart swelled. The people had trusted her and she had guided them. The bond between the city and its leaders felt stronger than ever. King Thalen joined them on the terrace, his expression proud and thoughtful. Lyra, you have shown courage beyond your years, he said. The storm tested us all, but it also revealed the strength of our people and the value of friendship across worlds. Kale has proven that humans can be allies, friends, and teachers. Lyra smiled, feeling her father's pride wash over her. Yes, father. Kale helped us prepare, but it was the people who made it happen. We all did it together. Kale bowed slightly to King Thalen. Your Majesty, it was an honor to serve Veloria. The bravery and ingenuity of your people are remarkable. I hope this is the beginning of a lasting friendship between our worlds. King Thalen nodded. I believe it can be. Trust and cooperation are the foundation of peace, and courage unites all beings, no matter where they come from. Lyra looked out across the city again. The floating towers gleamed in the morning light, and the bridges and gardens seemed more alive than ever. She thought of the apprentices who had worked alongside her, the engineers who had adjusted the energy conduits, and the citizens who had remained calm and focused even as the storm threatened. Every person had contributed, and the city had endured. Turning to Kale, Lyra spoke softly. You know, I was afraid of you at first. I thought humans were unpredictable, maybe even dangerous. But now I see that you are a friend, a guide, and a teacher. You showed me that courage can take many forms, and that strength is greatest when shared. Kale's eyes softened. Thank you, Princess Lyra. Your courage inspired me as well. True bravery is not just in one person. It is in the actions of everyone who works together toward a common goal. You have led your people with wisdom and heart. That is what makes a great leader. Lyra felt a warmth in her chest. She had grown so much in just a few days, facing fear, learning from Kale, and discovering the power of cooperation. The storm had been a challenge, but it had also been a teacher. Thierry fluttered near her shoulder. Princess, the people will remember this day. They will tell stories of the human warrior and the Velorian princess who faced the storm together. Courage and friendship are forever. Lyra nodded. Yes, Thierry. And I hope they also remember that bravery is not just in facing danger. It is in understanding, helping, and inspiring others. As the day passed, Kale and Lyra visited the citizens who had contributed to the storm preparations. They thanked the engineers for their quick thinking, praised the apprentices for their dedication, and encouraged the guards for their steadfast attention. Everywhere they went, smiles and gratitude followed. The city was alive with energy, a community strengthened by shared experience and mutual respect. In the evening, a celebration was held in the palace gardens. Crystal lanterns floated in the air, casting soft, colorful light across the gathering. Lyra stood on a raised platform beside Kale and her father. She addressed the citizens, her voice clear and confident. People of Veloria, she began, we have faced a great challenge together. The storm tested our city, our skills, and our courage, but we did not face it alone. We worked together, trusted each other, and learned that bravery is strongest when shared. Today, we are not just survivors of a storm, we are a stronger, wiser, and braver community. And we have a new friend in Kale, who showed us the power of courage, wisdom, and cooperation from beyond our world. The citizens cheered, their voices echoing across the floating gardens. Kale stepped forward, bowing slightly. Thank you, Princess Lyra, and thank you to all the people of Veloria. Humans and Velorians may be different, but courage, kindness, and cooperation are universal. Together, we can face anything the universe sends our way. Lyra felt a sense of joy and accomplishment. The city was safe, the citizens were confident, and a bond had been formed that reached beyond planets and species. She realized that fear, while natural, had been a guide, a way to learn, grow, and discover courage she had not known she possessed. As the celebration continued, Lyra and Kale found a quiet moment on a balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons were rising, casting gentle silver light across the crystal towers. Kale, Lyra said softly, do you think this is the beginning of something greater? A friendship between our worlds? Kale smiled. Yes, Princess, today was more than surviving a storm. It was a chance to learn from each other, to trust each other, and to build a bond that can last for generations. Humans and Velorians can face challenges together, explore the stars together, and protect what we hold dear together. Lyra felt hope fill her heart. I want to learn more, Kale. I want to explore, to understand, and to share our worlds with each other. The storm showed me what is possible when we work together. Kale nodded. And I will be here, Princess, as a friend, a guide, and an ally. The universe is vast, and there is much to discover. Together, we can do great things. As the night deepened, the floating city of Veloria glowed softly beneath the stars. The citizens slept peacefully, knowing their homes were safe. Princess Lyra, once afraid of the human warrior, now stood confidently beside Kale, understanding that courage, trust, and friendship could overcome any challenge. The storm had passed, leaving behind more than calm skies. It left lessons of bravery, the value of teamwork, and the power of reaching beyond differences to form lasting bonds. Lyra felt a quiet excitement for the future. The universe was vast, full of unknown wonders, and with Kale by her side, she was ready to face whatever adventures awaited. In the days that followed, the bond between Veloria and the humans grew stronger. Knowledge was shared, skills were exchanged, and new plans for exploration began to take shape. The story of the storm, and of the Velorian princess and the human warrior, spread across the city, inspiring young and old alike to embrace courage, curiosity, and cooperation. Lyra often thought back to the first day she had feared Kale. The fear seemed distant now, replaced by respect, trust, and friendship. She had learned that fear was not something to fight against blindly, but something to understand and use as a guide toward courage. Kale, too, reflected on their time together. He had come to Veloria expecting challenges, but what he found was something greater. A chance to show that humanity's strengths were not only in bravery or strength, but in empathy, intelligence, and the ability to inspire hope. Together, they had formed an alliance that promised not only protection for Veloria, but also a future filled with exploration, discovery, and friendship across the stars. As the twin moons cast their glow across the floating towers, Princess Lyra looked at Kale and smiled. The universe is big, Kale, she said softly, but I no longer feel afraid. Together we can face it. Kale returned her smile. Yes, Princess, together we can face anything. Courage, friendship, and hope will guide us. And so, under the soft light of Veloria's moons, a new chapter began. Humans and Velorians, once separated by distance and differences, now stood together as allies, friends, and explorers. Princess Lyra had learned the true meaning of courage. Kale had shared the power of trust and wisdom, and the city of Veloria had become stronger than ever before. The stars above twinkled in quiet approval, as if celebrating the bonds formed below. And in that peaceful moment, Lyra knew that whatever challenges the future held, Veloria and its people, guided by courage and friendship, would face them bravely and together.